Hi guys, how are we going? This is Fungoose back, and we're going to be doing a little bit of a Dead by Daylight guide in terms of maps today. Now I'm going to walk through a couple of things, guys, and do not hesitate to jump in my stream or ask any questions if there is any information here you do not understand, or if you want to know a little bit more about maps. This being said, guys, there are two kinds of maps in Dead by Daylight. You have the normal map, which is a green map, and you have the pink map, which is a rainbow map. Now, without going into too many details right here off the start, you can see that this map can track one generator at the start of the game. It has 20 seconds of channeling, and it also allows you to track generators within 8 meters. That doesn't do a lot. This map, however, has a hell of a lot more attached to it. It still only has 20 seconds of charge. Start with 3 objectives automatically tracked, which is brilliant. I mean, 3 generators at the start. You should roughly know where to go, but I can understand people get confused on maps like the game, on Lyri's Institute, because these maps are very confined, and you can't look up for the obvious indications that there is a generator nearby. Unlock the ability to track black locks. Now, the black lock is the hatch, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are the last man alive, or if your teammate is looping the killer and you think he's gonna die, or if he's on the hook and he hasn't died, this will allow you to locate the hatch. You may have already ran past it, depending, and it'll allow you to quickly get a nice scoot out. Also, if your buddy has a key, you guys can be a real pain and get out of most games. This being said, the next one unlocks here. Unlocks killer belongings to track. Now, that is so damn important. I'm talking, this is hooks, chat. Hooks might not be important, you're right. It's also trapped for the trapper or the hag, but most importantly, it's totems. Now, totems play a significant role here in Dead by Daylight. Almost every single totem, excluding Lullaby, is very, very valuable. Now, I'm talking Third Seal can be utilized very well, but we're going to talk about the more popular two right now. You have Devour Hope, and you have Ruin. I mean, Haunted Ground's great too, and so is Knowed. A lot of people run Knowed. I don't personally run Knowed, but I know how powerful it can be when it comes to the end of the game. This being said, a rainbow map can counter that because you can break the totems while the game is happening. Now, there is a couple of cons with this map, but I will get to those a little bit later. Going back up here to the normal map. Alright, so this allows me to track generators within 8 meters. Alright? Not too great. Let's have a little bit of a look at the perks we've got here, chat. Open-handed gives you the ability to track all your aura reading abilities an additional 8 meters. So now, if I walk past the generator within 16 meters, which is half a Whisper's range, it'll automatically give me the blood points for discovering the generator. Alongside, I will also be able to track that as well. That's actually a pretty damn good perk in terms of using maps. Right, we're going to go to Deja Vu. Deja Vu is more of a basic perk for kind of people who are new to DBD with less than, let's say, 100, 200, 300 hours in the game. It allows you to find generators much more efficiently. Excuse me. This being said, the aura of 3 generators, which are in close proximity, excuse me, will be lit up at the beginning of the match. So 60 seconds, you're going to be able to see generators lit up and know where to go if you were confused and lost at the start. If you're a very immersed player and you don't know where the objectives are, if you're terrified of the killer, this might actually allow you to come out of your shell a little bit more and then practice your looping, your hiding skills, etc. It could be an okay perk, right? I can see how it can be utilized, but for a player with thousands of hours in the game or hundreds of hours in the games, I don't think it's very, very fantastic. We have small game here. Now, small game might seem like a little bit of a buzzkill for some people. I mean, it's an interesting one. So a lot of people get confused when it comes to small game. It says traps and totems within a 45-degree cone. So 45 degrees, obviously half of a right angle. So a very, very small amount, which is very precise, which is perfect. Within a range of 12 meters, small game has a cooldown of 20 seconds. Yes. Open-handed gives you 8 extra meters on this. Now, a lot of people don't like that, because if you were to run small game, open-handed, and this map, a lot of people think, okay, so I have a 16 meter here that I can track, and this is only going to be 12 meters, so when I hear the ding, I know when to look. That is incorrect. This is still going to be 20 meters, and this is still going to be 16 meters. That being said, we're going to move on to our final perk we have here, which is called Detective's Hunch. Now, Detective's Hunch is actually a fantastic perk, right? It unlocks one's aura reading ability when completing a generator. If you do 30% of a generator and leave, you did not complete it. You must be physically touching a generator to complete a generator. So when you complete a generator, chests and totems and other generators will light up within 64 meters. If you did have open-handed, that is now 72 meters for 5 seconds. Now, everything that lights up on there can be tracked on the map. Now, this is awesome. This is just a fantastic thing to have, right? Not many people run Detective's Hunch. I personally wouldn't run it as it requires you to... I mean, doing a generator is great. If you can head to the center of the map, avoid the killer, do the generator in the middle, and run that, that's brilliant. If you're going to be using a basic map like this is a pretty mediocre map. Let's be honest. It's not that great. It doesn't do much. This map by default, I can understand how people new to the game can look at this and go, oh, maps suck. But you'd be incorrect. Alright, let's have a look at the add-ons here. This now allows all auras that you channel to be seen by your allies. So if I put this on, now allies will be able to see the generators. Now you're right, that might not seem great. It might not seem great. But if I chuck on another add-on along here that allows me to track killers' belongings. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you have the red twine, the crystal bead on this map with Detective's Hunch, you don't need the rest. You don't. If you have that 3 combo there, when you complete one generator, you can pretty much light up majority of the board. 64 meters is huge. Now, I'm not saying it's the whole board. I'm saying it's absolutely massive. And if you were to get that on the game, good lord, you'd be able to light up every single totem, know where everything is. If you had Ruin or whatever, and you were struggling to land your Ruin skill checks, you could get rid of it. If you had Devour Hope, you could find it very fast. There's a lot of things that could really be utilized with Detective's Hunch here, right? I don't think this is a bad map at all. It is very tailored that you need to run these kind of add-ons, but you can change 1 or 2 things, right? I honestly would not run a map, a green map that is, without these 2 add-ons, chat. Now, this being said, we're going to advance up real quick, right? We're going to advance up into the Rainbow map. Now, as you can see by the Rainbow map, it tracks objectives, so generators, black locks, so the hatch, killer's belongings, so traps, totems, hooks, as well as the exit gates. This is a really mean map. It can do a hell of a lot. Now, keep in mind, every time you track something, you get blood points for it. Now, if you were running open-handed, all of that is now 16 meters. So that just got massive. Keep in mind, open-handed stacks with your team. If you've got your mate that wants to run open-handed as well, your map's just going to get bigger, chat. So it can be a pretty scary map. This being said, you get to see all this. If you were to run the crystal bead, now everything you light up, your allies see. So you're going to give them so much situational awareness and knowledge in terms of if you're versing a trapper and you know your teammate just got hit and you've been all around the board and you just light up your map, you can give them enough knowledge to know not to loop around certain, traps, or there might be a trap at the other end of the window in the grass and he'll have to take it wider. You could really prolong the game from just running the crystal bead. Knowledge is power in Dead by Daylight, and the more knowledge you have, the more power you're going to realistically have, whether you're a killer and you know that there's one guy on a hook, there's one guy on the floor, there's 2 people on discordants, for example. But we'll get into this in another video. Right, guys, so you do have one more slot here available. Now, there's a couple of options, alright? So you have... This would not even work. So it's got the black silk cord, unlocks the ability to track black locks. Rainbow map already does it. So you already have that built into the map. Brilliant. Now this here, chat. Odd Stamp. It considerably increases the range of tracking abilities. Now this is very handy in terms of you're now going up from 16 meters, providing your ally doesn't have on open-handed. You're now going up, I don't actually know the exact sum, but you're now going up, let's just say for science, another 6 meters, because there's one below it called the Unusual Stamp that actually stacks on it. So now your map is going to be absolutely huge. You're looking at about an 18 or 20 meter radius around you, which is very powerful in terms of allowing you to see belongings to the killer. Whenever you get a notification on the far right-hand side of your screen, it'll say, object scouted. You can check your map and see what you scouted. You could have scouted a totem, you could have scouted a generator, and it'll allow you to break things, making small game a bit useless in terms of running these kind of these add-ons. Small game can be utilized for people that are still trying to understand the map, but I feel if you have a lot of knowledge and understanding of maps, you can get away with not even running small game. In no way, guys, am I recommending the build that I have right now. I'm just showing you the perks that can be affected really well by maps. Also, you have Streetwise, which reduces the consumption rate of the map, which also, yes, it does stack with the jelly. Now, the jelly here moderately slows down the burning of the map, which is awesome. So it has a 20-second charge, guys, and that's going to moderately reduce the charge rate alongside Streetwise would make it last even longer. Now, the thing about a map, though, is the longer you use it, the longer you channel. The longer you channel, the less productive you are. So I don't really agree with running your map runs longer or you have more charges on your map. Those kind of things I don't think are important. On a toolbox, because it helps your productivity, yes. On a flashlight, yes, because it helps you keep the killer immobilized or, you know, visually makes it a much harder experience for the killer in terms of if you blind him through windows, you blind him at a pallet, you blind him when he does a pickup, for example. It can be very utilized time, but on a map, time is not important. Going through the rest of the add-ons here, guys, unlocks the ability to track the exit gate. So you can track the exit gate and the black locks. It's already built in on the rainbow map. You don't need it. And add 5 seconds to the map. Honestly, it's a no-brainer here right now, guys. You could chuck on the crystal bead, and honestly, I'd recommend the odd stamp. But there is something called a glass bead. Now, I've saved this for the last because it's very dependent on your team. Now, it unlocks the ability to leave a marker on the map. The marker will be a massive beam of light that only survivors can see, the killer cannot. That will go right up to the sky, and survivors will be able to see it throughout the map. So if you have a generator that's at 80% and the killer's about to chase you off, you can leave a beam of light on the generator. It lasts forever and does not consume your map while the beam's there. Don't think it's like a panel for it. You could just start using your map and then drop it down. That being said, guys, it is awesome, but you really need a team that understands what you're flagging, what you're leaving a bead on. Are you leaving a bead on the, are you leaving a beam of light on the totem that is Haunted Ground? Or is it going to be Devour Hope? Does he have 3 stacks of Devour Hope? Or is he running Ruin and he saw you coming in for the Ruin and you had to leave the beam of light? Can be used well, but it requires a team that understands why and how it can be effective. But if you are worried about your team not understanding, I'd recommend the odd stamp. If you are in a Swift, for whatever reason, and you're on comms, that is the MVP map right there. Now, a lot of people will think, oh no, if you're in a Swift, you want to run other things. But if you're running a map like this, you're going to give a killer main an absolute horrible, horrible time. Now, I don't mean that in... I do not encourage, like, trying to make someone have a bad time, but what I mean is, if it's a trapper prepping, you can unprep his traps. You can even break his traps if somebody has a toolbox. Remember, the game is all about your survival and what you need to do to survive. If you're giving your team knowledge and you can kind of build around understanding what perks he has. Okay, so he's got Ruin, we see that at the start. Somebody can call out, okay, I got a map, you know, I'll go for a quick scout around the map. I'll take 20 seconds before I get back to productivity. Personally, in my Swift, do we use this? No, we really don't. We generally pump through Ruin, and we do normally get punished from Node at the end of the game. I feel like looking for Ruin or looking for those kind of totems is not very important. The only totem you should be looking for is Devour Hope after he has 3 stacks, or if you know it's the same killer with Devour Hope, then it might be a good idea to get rid of it before he gets the 3 stacks. That's the only totem that can be very scary. So guys, if you have any questions about maps, whether it be anything I've discussed here on stream, well, here on YouTube, or if you have questions about keys, flashlights, toolboxes, medkits, feel free to head over to my my Twitch channel, guys. I'll leave it under the description here. It's Fungoose as well. And guys, I will see you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed.